The air is warm, the grass is soft. The only sounds should be crickets and distant traffic. But sometimes, when the sun goes down, the backyard stops belonging to you. It was the summer of 2014. I was 11 years old, and my best friend Jake lived in the house next door. His parents were out of town for the weekend, so we were allowed to play in his backyard until the streetlights came on. Jake's backyard was big, with a wooden fence on one side and a tall, empty house on the other. That house had been for sale for almost a year. The windows were always dark. No one ever came or went. We were playing catch when Jake stopped mid-throw and just stared past me. I turned around. There was someone standing in the upstairs window of the empty house, not moving, just standing there, looking down at us. I remember the way the late afternoon sun hit the glass. It made it hard to see a face, but the shape was clear. Tall, still, watching. Jake yelled, "Who is that?" And the figure stepped back from the window and disappeared into the dark room. We both froze. Then we ran inside Jake's house and locked every door. His older brother was home, and when we told him, he laughed and said we were being dramatic. He even walked over to the empty house and knocked on the front door. No answer. All the windows were locked. That night I slept over. Around 2 in the morning, I woke up to Jake shaking my shoulder. He pointed out the bedroom window that faced the empty house. The same upstairs window was open now, and someone was standing in it again. We never played in that backyard after dark again. The second story happened last summer. My cousin asked me to house sit for 3 days while she and her husband went to a wedding out of state. They lived on a quiet road outside town. The backyard backed right up against thick woods. Their dog, a big black lab named Duke, was the only real company I had. The first night was fine. The second night, around 1:40 a.m., Duke started growling. Not a normal bark, a low, continuous growl aimed at the sliding glass door that looked out toward the tree line. I got up, turned on the outside light, and looked. Nothing. Just dark trees and the usual night sounds. I told him to settle down and went back to bed. 20 minutes later, same thing, same low growl, same direction. The third night, I stayed awake on purpose. At exactly 1:40 again, Duke got up, walked to the glass door, and started that same deep growl. I stood next to him with a flashlight and scanned the woods. For a few seconds, I saw nothing. Then, about 30 yards back in the trees, something moved. Just a slight shift, like a person taking one slow step sideways behind a trunk. Duke's growl got louder. The hair on his back stood straight up. I locked every door and window and sat on the couch with the lights on until sunrise. When my cousin came home the next day, I told her what happened. She got quiet for a long moment, then said, "Duke only does that when someone is standing at the edge of the woods. He's done it before." She never explained further. The last story is from when I was 17. We lived on the edge of a small neighborhood that backed into a stretch of woods. My bedroom window faced those woods. One humid July night, I couldn't sleep, so I opened the window for air. The screen was still on. Around 3 in the morning, I heard a soft sound outside, like someone walking carefully through wet grass. I stayed completely still and listened. The sound stopped right under my window. I waited almost a full minute before I slowly leaned over and looked down. There were footprints in the soft dirt that ran along the side of the house. They started at the tree line, came straight across the yard, and ended directly beneath my window. The prints were still wet, fresh. I slammed the window shut, locked it, and turned on every light in my room. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. In the morning, the prints were still there, but dried. I showed my dad. He measured them. They were a men's size 11. No one in our house wore that size. We never found out who they belonged to. But for the rest of that summer, I kept my window locked, even on the hottest nights. These are just 3 stories, there are more. If something like this has ever happened to you, leave it in the comments. I read every single one, and if you made it this far, consider subscribing. It helps more than you know. Sleep well.